Well, welcome everyone to an Aeroflow race for real. We've got the, well, I class it as a chrome bumper bar cars out here tonight. And I'll tell you what, we've got some absolute crackers down in the staging lanes. Two great cars sitting on the line. A little mini down here, turbocharged VTEC. Has had it here once before, ran a, oh geez, all over the track. It ran a high 12, just reeled off 13.6, 106 miles an hour. But co-commentator down on the line, the Plucket Rocket himself, hey Stu. Can't hear you, mate. No, nothing? All right, we've got a bit of a technical issue with Stu's mic down there, so got Benj up here just working away to try and resolve the issue. And we will have him on the mic very, very soon. But two VZ Commodores, nice strong burnouts.
Maybe a little bit too strong. Good evening, Mark.
Hey, we got you, mate.
Yeah,
sensational.
All sorted. Yeah, it is good to be down here on the deck. Of course, Aeroflow Race for Real tonight, brought to you by Aeroflow Performance. And it's great to have them continuing to be part of what we do. And I'll tell you what, guys, we are in for a great night of racing. And look, if there's anybody, any of your mates that were thinking, oh, you know, should we come out? The answer is yes. I know it doesn't look too crash hot, but I can tell you conditions out here, Mark, are fantastic. Speaking about being fantastic, this car that is down here in the rocket lane, Mark, you may or may not remember this car, but we got Lionel down here with his Group N Appendix J Jaguar, and this car has been around the Australian motorsport scene for a very, very long time. Of course, he used to race at Amaru Park, Oran Park, Wakefield. Had the car for a very, very long time, and we're very lucky to have this car here tonight for a little bit of straight line action.
I did actually have a read on the side, the rear back door glass there, Stu, or the entries stickers on there. There is heaps, and you're right, it has been all over the place for a fair while. And I do remember this car, have seen it around at different race meetings. A really well-prepared car, and it's one of those cars that just keeps going and going and going.
Well, they certainly do. And look, there's probably a lot of younger generation people, and when I say that, I mean that are, you know, a lot younger than me, but they probably never really grew up in that era, Mark, where you'd go to a touring car round and you'd always have the Group N Appendix J's always as a support bracket. And of course, they had everything from minis to Jags to Escorts. Of course, Bob Pearson back in the day, very famous product-sponsored Cortina that he used to race. There's a lot of great names that came out of that category, and as I mentioned, to have Lionel here with the Jag, we are very, very lucky. Speaking about being very, very lucky tonight as well, I did mention a bit earlier today on my little live stream that Elite Auto House were coming out tonight, and Ali, he messaged me at 10 a.m. this morning. Just so you know, Ali, I actually was awake. I wasn't asleep, but he has got one of the quickest, if not the quickest Pro Street Evos in the world here tonight, here at Sydney Dragway. That car has already gone an 880 with a 7 at 176 miles per hour down this quarter mile on a Wednesday night. And Mark, Steve and myself and Ben, we were very lucky to be here that night to commentate those runs. And Mark, I'm interested to see what he does tonight, because last time they brought the car out, look, it was warm, to be fair, but tonight it's not cold. It's just a beautiful temperature out here at the moment, and the track hasn't been in a lot of sun all day either, so be interested to see how they go getting the car down.
Well, Stu, it'll be good to see what we've got at the moment. We're going to be having a few cars run down the track, so that will put a bit of heat back into it. But the cool weather, it just suits turbo cars. So we might see some really, really good times. We had those 4 Evos out that night, and they actually broke 2 records. They broke 1 record, and then not long after that, another record again. So, yeah, it was an absolute cracker of a night. Those guys definitely know how to put on a show.
Well, it would be fantastic in the future to have all of them come back. But right now, we've got Lionel in the Jaguar taking on this beautiful-looking 1-tonner. Both cars got a set of treaded sportsman tyres, although the Appendix J Jag, obviously it's got the race tyres on the rear end of it. The Bridgestone Potenzas, 13.9 out of the Ute and 15.89. That's a pretty good pass there for Lionel in the Jag for the first run of the night.
Yeah, sure is indeed, especially seeing that that car's probably more set up for a round racetrack, not straight line.
Now, I might be down here on the deck, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm standing here at the start line, and I've just seen Mark Thomas's eyes just light up like a spotlight, because there's a beautiful looking Tirana down here. Good evening, Kyle. He was worried I was going to interview him then. It's all right. I wouldn't do that. He's very shy, Kyle. But no, with this beautiful SLR 5000 down here, and I guess if you're a Tirana aficionado, this is one of the holy grail of Tiranas that were ever built.
Yeah, sure is, Stu. This that was the real era for the Tiranas. It started with the LJs, and it's probably a bit of a thorn in the side of the Ford lovers that a little 6-cylinder LJ XU1 beat their mountain killer of a Phase 3. And would have done it 2 years in a row, except they stuffed up the adding of the fuel and how much they had left. They had to push the last bit of it. But then in come the LH Tirana, then the LX and the hatchback. The hatchback was just the ultimate race car, and Peter Brock showed that with the Bathurst win, leading every single lap, led by 6 laps, and on the very last lap, to show how strong the car was, he broke the lap record.
Well, for me, being really, I wasn't around really with the Tirana era, but obviously my 2 favourite Tiranas is definitely the A9X, the SLR 5000, but also the LC GTR. They are my 2 favourites. Speaking about favourite Holdens, her HQ is here, which means Alicia Teal is here tonight. Of course, Alicia used to race a fair bit, but work has taken up a lot of her time. But she's just got the new gearbox rebuilt there, Mark, and she's just testing the car out tonight, because in 4 weeks, she's off the drag challenge.
Yeah, she is indeed. Having a little bit of a talk to her down there earlier, and the car has just dropped away a touch in the 60-foot, and she was just looking, so, is it tyres, is it converter? The converter, she's saying, has got a bit of age about it. So it has 60-footed at the best of, I think, a 158. and then it was, you know, roughly around the 1.6s. So, yeah, I reckon a new converter would be the go.
Well, I think also too, Mark, and you'll attest to this, that the engine loses power as well as it ages, and I mean that car's had a fair, I'll use the word thrashing here at Sydney Dragway. Plus the Dragway challenges aren't necessarily always motor friendly, in that they make the car drive between events, and I mean Alicia's car probably okay to do that, but you know there's plenty of engine combos out there that aren't designed to idle along at 100, 110 k's an hour on a freeway or on a back road somewhere.
Yeah.
They're just not, the cams and the springs and all that sort of stuff just aren't designed to have that continual wear. But I guess if it was easy, everyone would do it, wouldn't they? You know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I feel that mechanically everything sort of wears as we use it, and what worked, when everything was fresh, does slowly degrade. Unfortunately, nothing lasts forever. But Alicia's certainly been around long enough and has enough connections to, and probably, alliances with workshops and bits and pieces that can actually say, well, hey, I think we can gain a little bit out of this by changing X, Y, and Z, and hopefully without spending a ton of money, can get a reasonable improvement.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she has been around racing for a long time. She started racing the Kiwi the same time as we started racing the Trana.
Oh, wow.
So we raced the Trana for 12 years.
Yeah, okay.
And with probably...
Whoa. Oh. Well, there's no traction over there, bud. Move back into the centre of the lane. Still fighting with it at half track. That car's doing 85 mile an hour at half track. And I dare say probably out of the throttle at that point. 111 through the finish line. 11.69 with a 7 to an 11.19 with a 7 in the rocket lane. I dare say the racer in the rocket lane was watching all that unfold because it was only about a car and a half behind. And probably a little bit nervous thinking, is he going to stay in the lane? But yes...
especially for that HG, because it's just every pass dead straight, dead straight, dead straight.
Yes.
And like we've had cars go down this lane so far, and with no dramas at all. So maybe just not enough heat in those tyres. Just something wasn't hooking for that car being so reliable and spot on.
Yeah, well, it headed straight over that way, didn't it?
Yes.
It was firstly at the centre line, around 100 feet out or thereabouts. So. Hopefully everything's A-OK with all the suspension and everything, and there's nothing coming out of it. We are mopping a little bit of something off the start line there, so whether it was out of that car, I'm not sure. But I came in, you were talking about success for Holden at Bathurst.
Yes.
I think I'm correct in saying that and I'm being biased here, that the Mark 1 Cortina was the only make of car to win 3 years successive in a row.
Okay. Yep.
Yes.
So that would have been around the minis.
Yes.
Yep.
So 62, 63, 4 and 5.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Yeah. So my car club's actually trying to put together a Cortina Nationals next year.
Wow. Okay.
Did possibly have a little bit of a setback announced last night, but we'll have to wait. We're waiting on something else that'll happen. But yeah, we've started taking bookings and bits and pieces, so hopefully everything works out okay and we can have a good event. We've the first that my club's run, but we've had a couple of Cortina Nationals now, and they've been really well supported.
That's great.
People from Perth, like they might not bring their car, but they'll come over. We've had interest from Tassie in this one, and also New Zealand as well. So, again, I don't know if the New Zealand people will bring their car. It'd be awesome if they did, but I understand that there's obviously some logistics in that and a heap of money to do so. So, looking like we're moving into our lane 6 cars. This Sylvia, very, very quick, was punching 150 mile an hour on the weekend on Sunday, the Sunday sessions. Not so this time, 110 mile an hour through the finish line. It's got a turbo LS in it. And, something a little bit different. Taking on the Chevy Camaro on that run.
Wow. Well, that would be a really great meeting to go to.
Yeah, well, we're hoping to have it up at Bathurst, is where it's planned. But yeah, as I said, a little bit of a setback announced last night by the president. But hopefully everything will work out. And yeah, so it's October long weekend next year is what we're planning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Going to be supported by any other racing within there?
No, because it's just before Bathurst, so it's only
okay.
It's more a function and that sort of thing more so than actually. It's just handy that it's at Bathurst and we can drive around obviously at posted speed limits. Yeah, and that's a little bit of a draw card for visitors that might be coming from interstate.
Yeah.
I mean, most of us have driven around Bathurst at some point, and I mean certainly the specialty of that weekend around that time of year and the 60th anniversary is what we're aiming for.
Yep.
So yeah, so still
good.
a fair bit of work to do, but hopefully we can get it all sorted and have a cracking weekend. 10:47 with a 144 mile an hour for our bike rider in the rocket lane there.
That thing was hard on the limiter off the line, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, but only a 2.0 to the 60, so plenty of ET left in that, I dare say.
So,
speaking of minis,
tell me if I'm correct. Toyota Chaser.
Yes.
Yeah, 100% right, Mark. The Toyota Chaser up against the VTEC Yo powered Mini.
Oh, really? It's got a Honda in it, does it?
Oh.
It does.
Mate, if you get a chance, have a look at it. It is such a absolute brilliant conversion.
Whoa. It's still doing the Honda things, though.
It is, yeah, and it did the previous pass too.
Wow, that's a big step for a Mini. It's probably a whole car width there that it jumped over.
Yeah, the wheelbase is not real big, so any change is a big change, isn't it?
Yeah, more the width.
He has bought it out before, and it ran a high 12.
Yeah, wow.
So he's he's up the turbo, got a bigger turbo now, and is chasing the mid 12. So
yes. Of course, we see those Honda K swaps in the in the different varying Hondas that not necessarily always ET but massive speeds. But a 12.05 with a 9 there for the Tiguan in the rocket lane to a 13.35 at 103 for the Aeroflow lane. I have noticed of recent times, Mark, that we're seeing more and more of these the Tiguans coming out and running reasonably good numbers. I've actually started thinking the process that if I do update my little SUV that I might try and get an older Tiguan, because of course they share all the platform with the Golf R.
Yes.
And you get the for me personally the ease of in and out as well.
Yeah. Yep.
Sliding that clutch in the Mazda. Goes 182 to the 60. Starting to pull away at the 1,000 foot. And a 12.55 at 107 in the Aeroflow lane there.
And 13.4 for the rocket lane. Well, that thing off the line, all you could see was shift light.
Yes, that blue LED burning a hole through the back, through the back window and the Venetian. Even I could see it from up here.
It's it's definitely an art in driving a manual car with power.
Yes. It's practice is what it is.
Yeah.
037 on the treat for our racer in the Aeroflow lane.
A couple of names, like Sam Sabato in the red HQ one.
Yep.
GDS two-door. Like that thing, he would leave the line, left-hand wheel high in the air,
grab
while
second,
he's jamming second gear into it.
Yeah, and then chirping the back wheels all at the same time.
Yeah.
I think made the comment many times. I haven't seen Sam out here for a little while. Used to run at all the track champ meets. I made the call plenty of times with Rusty Gregory that I wasn't coming back as a clutch plate for Sam because it would chirp in every gear, and that was the old classic. I assume like an Aussie 4-speed in it.
Yep.
So doing very well to get through the gate and all that sort of stuff. It was well before sequential gearboxes and,
yes.
And the like. But you can do that when you don't have any mechanical sympathy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you can drive. It's certainly a need.
All right, guys, got Ali from Elite Auto House in BAKDWN. 880 with a 7, this car has gone previously here at a Wednesday night street meet. Let's see what they can do tonight.
Little bit of wheel speed on the lead. The car darts over towards the centre line at around half track. Ali fighting with it back to the middle of the lane and runs an 897 with a 3. 169 miles an hour. 162 to the 60 foot there.
Well, I'll tell you what, not too far off what he has run previously, but yeah, he was just manhandling that car all the way down that track.
Standard issue for a pretty hot Evo to be doing that. Unfortunately, my focus was on the Evo there, Mark. I didn't notice what the Skyline, the R35 ran. I'm sorry.
Makes two of us sorry. When you see an 8-second pass out of an Evo, you concentration is pretty much taken up on one car, isn't it?
Well, I've got to say, boys, it actually didn't move around as much as it has previously when I've seen the car here. So whilst it still was an 890, there's still a little bit more left in it. But, yeah, it was a little bit more of a tidier pass by Evo standards.
Steve, you'd probably appreciate this, the early Jag.
Look, I think it's a Mark II. I can't say we've called a Mark II Jag here at Sydney Dragway. We've seen a lot of cars down the racetrack here and a lot of unusual ones at that.
Yep.
But I don't recall ever calling a Mark II Jag. So I hope the driver's out here and having a good time. Of course, the Jaguar obviously has a pretty rich history in classic cars and in motorsport, of course.
Yeah. Appendix J car, and has done a lot of race meets at different tracks. All the stickers still all over the back windows.
Yeah, nice.
So, yeah, it's great.
Not too shabby either, only a 15-second pass there.
Yeah. XE Falcon. Okay, not sure if we got something on the track or.
No. There was the red lights flashing, but
yeah. Maybe they're just holding these guys up until they cleared the bottom road.
And it looks like our aeroflot lane's going to take it, Mark. 14.26 with a 5, 99 miles an hour through the top end.
And 16.4, 84 miles an hour for the rocket lane.
Yeah, so just for those of us that are metrically minded, 100 mile an hour is about 160 kilometres per hour.
Well, this gentleman that's down here, guys, in the VF, he was here the other week and he was racing his Mazda rotary, but unfortunately he fried the clutch in it. So tonight he's got his VF, and I can tell you what, Mark, the interior on this thing has had a lot of money spent on it. It looks beautiful.
I actually did have a look at it. This is going through scrutineering, Stu. You're right. It's got all that tan-coloured leather through the car, and it looks sensational with the black exterior.
Yeah, it certainly would. Is this the driver of that white RX-7 that was here last week? 1098 there, 128 mile an hour. So if it is, he's got a pretty good, good shed of cars in his at home.
Got a good little stable of them.
Yeah. Good that he's not one-eyed either. So he's got he's racing a Mazda and also a HSV's.
Yeah, you certainly can't complain.
Yeah, varying tastes.
Well, the XY Falcon up against the HQ. Alicia Teal.
Just looks like it's lifting that front left on the launch there for Alicia. 166 to the 60. Looks like the Falcon's doing very, very well to stay with her, but only 0.06 of a second across the finish line.
Wow.
11.44 with a 6 at 117 for Alicia to an 11.26, I think it was, for the Falcon.
So virtually just lost that little bit on the line and the 60-foot.
We've got this Sylvia down here from the Datsun Outlaws, one of our regulars here at Aeroflow Race for Real. It's got the radials on the rear end of the car, taking on a first-timer in the Commodore. We welcome all our first-timers here to Sydney Dragway as part of Aeroflow Race for Real. Also a big hello to everybody who's watching via YouTube and around the world. Welcome, guys.
Strong pass from the Sylvia, 150 mile an hour, 10-0, one with a 3, 150 miles an hour to a 15-0 in the Aeroflow lane there. 185 to the 60 for the Sylvia. So with a 10-0, there's definitely a little bit left in the 60-foot there. But as I said, it is turbocharged, so might just take a little bit of time to get wound up. But certainly, once it's wound up, it's on a mission.
Yeah, indeed.
Now, Mark and Steve, this red Holden that's down here, I was just having a chat with the driver earlier. Used to have a 355 in it, and then he damaged the engine here at Sydney Dragway. That's now got a 402 Chev in it.
Yeah, good combination.
402? Yeah, okay. I like 410. 410's pretty common because it's a sprint car.
Yeah, ours was 414.
Yeah.
Maybe just worn too foul. But yeah, 400 is a really good good motor.
Bore stroke combination, yeah. I was watching on a social media account the other day. They were breaking down the description said a 3,000 plus horsepower. It looked like it was a 6-cylinder.
Okay.
After a engine explosion, there was absolutely nothing left. Nothing. The block was in about 4 bits. The crank came out of the bottom end in 2. I'm sitting there going like, why are you spending your time pulling it apart? Just bin it. Like, there wouldn't be anything in there that you would use, even if it didn't look damaged. It wouldn't be worth risking. But yes, definitely the pile of shrapnel under the engine stand was pretty substantial. 10.53 with a 2, 126 miles an hour in the rocket lane there for our HG racer.
Our second motor that we had built, it was a 400, and it let a rod bolt go crossing the line.
Oh.
Full noise, and it looked like someone had dropped a hand grenade into the sump.
Yeah.
And we did not save one thing out of that motor.
Yeah, wow.
It just absolutely destroyed.
I guess if you're going to do it properly.
Oh, the big 67 Camaro rock and rolling off the start line. 0.794 on the tree. This is a nice pass at 11.16 at 122. Top stuff there from the Camaro. Got the VL coming out now.
Sounds pretty healthy down there, the VL. Running through the pipes. I'd just like to make a quick announcement. We've had a mobile phone handed in. If you've lost your mobile phone, it will be making its way up to registration, which is in the scrutineering shed to the west of the start line here at Sydney Dragway. So if you've lost your mobile phone, give it 10 minutes or so and head to registration and see if you'll need some ID. And
a bit of explaining of what it looks like.
Yeah, I dare say that would be what you'd have to do. So yeah, if you've lost your mobile phone, give it about 10 minutes. One of our officials has it, and we'll be running it up to registration, which of course is in the
VL with a bit of help there, boys, from Easy 10's Performance. Of course, those guys are quite well known around this area of Sydney.
Well, 10.3, 142 miles an hour to a 10.5, 146 miles an hour. Well, as just to add on what Stewie said a little bit earlier, that if you've got any mates sitting at home and wants to come out and have a heap of fun, now's the time. The weather's great. Give them a call. Get them out here. They will get in plenty of passes and have an absolute cracker of a time.
Exactly right, Mark. And of course, if you do want to run, you only need an approved helmet, long sleeve top, long pants, and covered shoes, and of course a license. If you have raced here before and you've got someone that wants to go for a drive in the passenger seat, that can be done as well,
yes.
But you can't be a first timer.
Yep.
Just on that, Mark, we had a Sunday sessions, Sunday street meet on Sunday just gone.
Okay.
And what a cracker of an event it was. We had a bit of everything for anybody. Like Pat, Elliot, and myself commentated. Benji was up here. He'll agree with us. There was something for everybody. That, you know, whether it was a Tirana, whether it was a Cortina, whether it was a late model Subaru or a R35 Skyline, a hot rod, whatever it might be, there was something for everybody. And I tell you what, so many quick cars as well. Like we saw a big mile an hour out of a few of them. And of course was run in conjunction with the Blackout Society car show.
Yep.
So out in the pits there was a bit of everything as well, which I'm sure unfortunately Pat and I wouldn't have seen from up here, but yeah, definitely reasonably good crowd. We had burnouts, we did roll racing, and we also did the drag racing as well. So yeah, it was a really good day. Cracker of event, and I think we've got another one planned for October as well. So if you can't make a Wednesday night with your car, check out the track's website for the date of the Aeroflow Sunday sessions at Sydney Dragway for the month of October. Grab your ticket because we did sell out for competitors like by 9 o'clock.
Okay.
So yeah, definitely get in early if you can, if you think you'd like to have a crack. So general safety and rules of the event are the same as tonight. Just on that, we do have one of our track sponsors here, Greg from Simpson Raceway, Simpson Safety.
Yep.
He had at the last round of the Speed Addict Clothing Co. Championship Series, he had a display here with his little trailer that he has.
Yep.
He had a number of helmets there that would be more than suitable for running a street car like tonight. Not necessarily to the standard that you're going to jump in a door slammer with,
yep.
But more than adequate for racing your street car, and I believe that they were fairly well priced. So if you're in the need for a new helmet at a reasonable cost, check out. I'm sure it'll be on Greg's website with Simpson Race Products.
I might have to talk to him. Mine's out of date.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? That there is a use by date with a helmet.
Yes.
And of course, it's for good reason in that some of the materials break down over time, and structurally from the outside they might look all right, but and of course over time the safety developments within a helmet and all the safety apparatus that people wear, it certainly would improve as well. Well, looks like
take a little bit of a break.
Yeah, just going to say that, Mark. I think we'll throw to some ads from some of our sponsorship partners here at Sydney Dragway. Mark, I, and Ben, and Stu will be back with you very, very shortly.
Bang Shift shifters from Aeroflow Performance are truly the modern shifter for the modern age. Featuring a full bespoke billet case, all shifters are designed for right-hand drive vehicles with an LED lit gear position indicator. Available in either ratchet or gated options, as well as OEM replacement shifters for popular Holden and Ford vehicles. A large range of Bang Shift spares are available for each shifter that includes shifter cables, brackets, lever and gate kits, trans brake buttons and drop boxes for the ideal mounting solution. Shift into gear and check out a full listing at aeroflowperformance.com.
How would it be if we funded a pilot program for you to run that enabled you to bring some vision impaired kids onto the Saints Play program?
Oh wow, that would mean the world. My reward is the smile on the kids' faces.
And since you've given so much to others, we'd also like to do something for you personally. How would it feel if Pepper sent you, your partner, and your daughter Molly to the Gold Coast for a few days?
Yeah, awesome. I don't know what to say. It amazes me. Thank you very much.
Stay informed, up to date and entertained thanks to the Western Weekender. The Western Weekender is Penrith's leading free and local newspaper, delivering the best content from on-the-ground journalists and providing businesses with direct access to potential customers. News, sport, entertainment, puzzles and so much more. The Western Weekender is the heartbeat of Penrith and it's out every Thursday. Get your free copy at selected locations in the area, home delivered, or check out westernweekender.com.au.
Boosted turbochargers from Aeroflow Performance are designed for the automotive enthusiast who wants optimal performance at a competitive price. We have a range of turbochargers in both ceramic ball bearing and 360-degree journal bearing options to suit your power goals from 200 up to 3,000 horsepower. To help turbocharge your vehicle, Aeroflow Performance also have a large range of turbocharger accessories. From steam pipe turbo manifolds, external wastegates and intake and exhaust solutions, you can have your car boosted in no time. For a full listing, check out aeroflowperformance.com.
Speed Addict Clothing Co. Fast clothes for fast people. Shop now at speedaddictco.com.au.
I have this incredible drive to succeed. I've just got this ambition, I want to get on the podium. I think there's a lot of people that have an older mentality and don't think women belong in motorsport. And that's one thing I'd like to prove a lot of people wrong. It's you in the car and it's your ambition and your drive to win. As soon as that helmet goes on, that's it. I'm Brooke Newson. I'm a sprint car and outlaw car driver.
Not slow.
Not difficult.
Not just ticking boxes.
Not a bank.
Talk to Australia's real-life non-bank for home loans, car loans, personal loans. Pepper Money, the home of loan options.
Aeroflow Performance provides a wide range of high-quality performance products for racers, street machines and hot rodders.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Aeroflow Race for Real. And the drops have stopped out the back here, but we've got the tractor out there at the moment, just doing a little bit of a clean-up. Boys, we've had another very tough car turn up into the lanes. In lane 6, we've had the Team Karen VT Commodore. Hasn't been on the track for about 2 years. The boys are back with a new turboed LS combo on board and running radials. So we look forward to seeing that car hope come out very, very soon as well. Of course, I'd like to welcome everybody who's here at the track tonight. Welcome, guys, to all our spectators and racers. And, of course, the people that are watching via YouTube from around the world. Now, I do actually have a message for one of our regulars who tunes in, and that's Panel Van Man. G'day, Panel Van Man. I hope you're doing well. I just want to apologise for last week, mate. I actually didn't mean to scare you. Benji actually passed a message on to me earlier today and told me what happened. I apologise, buddy. But no, we look forward to getting in some more racing very, very soon. Still pretty warm out here, so it shouldn't be too much longer. And we will be getting back into some more fantastic off-street drag racing here at Sydney Dragway. And of course, to all our racers that are here tonight who have thought, you know what, I don't want to sit at home on a Wednesday night and do nothing. They've come out. We've got a good lineup of cars so far. If you want some great photos of your car, Mad Car Media are here. And do hit them up on Facebook. You get about getting some really good shots of your car as we welcome we got the Bushman and Mark Thomas up in the studio. And look, we've got a pretty decent turnout tonight so far, Mark. And there are some very, very, very tough cars out the back. So, as I mentioned, we've got the Elite Auto House Evo back down here tonight. We've got the Team Karen VT Commodore with the turboed LS combination on board. So, be interested to see how that car goes, both in radial shot. And obviously, we're on a street prep tonight. So, for a lot of those guys, it's about just getting the data. But it's not easy to get these big high horsepower cars off the start line here on a Wednesday night. Obviously, the track is not prepped as it normally would be for a radial car. But we've got some great street cars here tonight. Now, just while we've got this little weather happening, guys, if you're up in the stands, guys, make sure you do go up and see Denise and Mel up at Go Nuts for Donuts. Go get yourself a coffee and some donuts. If you're feeling hungry, or if you're down in the pits, guys, you can go down to the Top Fuel Cafe. We've got a young lady here in her Subaru. What's your name?
Paris.
Hey, welcome to Aeroflow Race for Real. How long have you had the car for?
5 months.
5 years? Awesome. How are you liking it?
Pretty good.
Yeah, it's your first time racing?
Yeah, first time racing.
Good stuff. Well, we look forward to seeing you out on track very, very soon. Great to see some more ladies making their way here to off-street drag racing and being a part of our culture and our community. Well, guys, I've made my way up into the studio just to catch up with the boys. And, sorry, Bushman, I just need to borrow your seat for a sec. But just sitting next to the screen, I can see who's online. Of course, Itchy. G'day, Itchy. How are you, mate? We got Psyop. Hey, Psyop, how you doing, buddy? Panel Van Man, of course, he's here as well. Ronald Memo. G'day, Ronald. You're up in the Blue Mountains. Beautiful. Yeah, you're not allowed to say that word here, guys. And just for the record, everybody, I did not wash my car today. So, yeah, it's not my fault for once. It is not my fault. It's not my fault. G'day, Decider. How are you? When are you coming back out to race again, mate? We haven't seen you for a little while. So we welcome to everybody who's tuned in from around the world and on YouTube as part of Aeroflow Race Reels. The Bushman is back in the house. So, guys, we're pretty good. Lucky tonight. We've got a great mix of cars out the back. We're just waiting for the go-ahead. And obviously, we've got to make sure the track's safe. It doesn't matter whether you've got an 8-second Evo or you've got a 20-second four-wheel drive. The track still has to be the same way for obvious reason. My car goes quicker than 20 seconds. Thank you very much, Ben. Yes.
Still quicker, Ben.
18, actually. Yeah. 18, it's gone. But, no. But, no, it's good. Great cars. Of course, I was just mentioning to Mark off mic, that little Mini that's here tonight with the VTEC conversion. Not quite sure. I will. But that car is, I've been told by Mark, has got a bigger turbo on it, and it's running obviously a lot more power than it has in the past, because the way I heard Steve and Mark commentate that, the way that it snapped on the track.
Yeah, typically you need a little bit of horsepower for that to happen.
Absolutely.
However, it's not very wide and it's not very long, so any sort of movement on the steering wheel is exaggerated.
Well, you know what they say, Steve, short wheelbase, high horsepower equals excitement.
Yes,
and
100%.
You know, I think you got to be a good driver as well, yes, to be able to drive a car like that quick. But look, we've got some great cars out the back. We've got the R35. We've got a gentleman downstairs in a brand new Mazda CX-60, which I'll be interested to see how that car goes down the track. Obviously, it's got the inline 6 in it. We've got a couple of Volkswagens down the back. Now, I did mention that we've got Ali here from Elite Auto House, but in lane 3, we've also got a silver Skyline out the back as well, which is also out of that workshop. We haven't seen that car here at Sydney Dragway for a very long time. Still manually shifted. It's got a set of radials on the rear end of it. So we look forward to seeing that car come out a little bit later on once we resume racing.
Yes, hopefully you're right, Stu. Hopefully we're not too far away from getting back underway with tonight's racing, but of course we just need to make some assessments of the racetrack, because sometimes the hardest part to actually dry is the braking area if it gets too wet, because the surface is a little bit different down there. It's not, we use the word filled in, like the quarter mile here with all the rubber that's put down on it. We can dry it quite quickly with a squeegee attachment on the tenant, or the two sweepers and also the tractors. But the issue with sometimes with the braking area is because it is actually just normal bitumen, any moisture sits in the low part of the bitumen, like it does on the road that you're sitting in the staging lanes or that you've driven here on. And you know, that does take a little bit more work to dry out if need be, and remembering that the braking area is twice as long as the drag strip, so there's a lot more surface area there as well.
Thanks for that comment, Soil, by the way. See, I was right, Soil. It's not my fault. We can see, as Ben was playing around with the cameras, and I don't know if you got to see that on the live stream, but it was a great shot there of Lionel in his Mark II Jaguar, his Group End Appendix J racer.
Such a classic colour scheme too, the red and the gold.
Yeah. Yeah,
quite like it.
Usually red or they're usually green?
Yes.
It used to be green.
Oh, was it? Yeah,
so
okay.
back in the late 70s it was green, and then I was told by Lionel that later on they re-sprayed it red.
Yeah, I reckon it'd be a lot of fun on a track like across the road or
Absolutely.
Wakefield Park. Yeah.
Oh, I heard their first race meeting is not this weekend. The next weekend, I think it's the October long weekend.
Okay.
I think, yeah. So it's good to see they've opened their doors, or very close to. There was a media release end of last year that I remember reading that they were hoping for September. So yeah, not too far away from that date, which is great. And of course, such a important racetrack. Yes. To everyone involved in circuit racing in New South Wales. It opens opportunity for other types of racing and other I suppose, more smaller events to take place. And, you know, it was very iffy there as to whether the track was going to be able to continue to operate.
Me and Galbo commentated the drag racing there for a long time.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. And
on the main straight.
Yeah, and the amount of people that were getting there coming out of Canberra and all around those areas, it was phenomenal.
Yes.
Yeah, they were great meetings.
Yeah, I've been there. Last meeting I went to watch there was with Rusty. He had his Lemons car there, and went down there for the afternoon to watch, and had a good old time. There is certainly a good feel about the venue in the history that's there, and. He did ask if I wanted to drive it. I went, hell no, not there, because I'd never driven it before, and that racetrack there'd be no break as such, or at least across the road. You've got a couple of straights you could move over and let the quicker cars past. I'm not my car, not my, what do they say, not my monkey, not my circus, so I'm not going to put the car in a position where I'm blocking someone.
That's why it's good to drive it.
Yes, I know, Mark, but my attitude is a little bit different to yours. So, yeah, I forego that opportunity, but went down and watched, and, yeah, good little spot. You know, and I know that the new owners of the venue have put in a tremendous amount of money in upgrading the noise walls and other things that will allow the venue to operate at a profitable amount, I should say, because that was the crippling thing that was killing them was the restrictions that had been placed on for noise. But yeah, so good to see that another venue was reopening in its doors to
they've done a
competition.
Lot of police training out there as well.
Yes, yes,
at the track, which was really good.
Because they used to do that at Marulan too, I think, from memory. But
well, I mean, with the owners now rebranding it as One Raceway, and that event coming up is actually the first round of the Australian Superbikes. So that'll be. I've never seen the bikes there. At Wakefield. Obviously, I've watched a lot of racing on TV over the years from Wakefield, but I've never actually watched the superbikes from there. Yep. But look, it'll be interesting. I know that Brock Feeney was down there recently with his old VF touring car that he used to race, his V8 supercar, and he was doing a couple of demo laps there as well in that car, in both directions as well. So just get a feel for the track. But look, hopefully in the future we'll see the sports sedans back there as well. I think it'd be a great little track for them. TCR would be probably one of the better categories to have there at the moment with the 2-litre touring cars. I think they would work out well. But I mean, one thing I forgot to mention too earlier, obviously Bathurst is coming up. It's not too far away. And Peter Zibras, who we know here from Sydney Dragway, who runs the Premier Top Fuel team and the supercars, he's actually going to be racing at Bathurst in the Heritage V8. He's got an old Group C Commodore that he's going to be racing, so that he owns.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think you'll look forward to taking a car around the mountain. Won't be as quick as the Top Fuel car by any stretch of the imagination, but I'll tell you what a very lucky man to be able to do that.
Yeah, definitely. I think there'll be a little bit more wheel work, and those eyes will be pretty wide on the concrete, I reckon, too, just quietly. You know, he's probably, I've heard that he's. We were just talking about that next tour as I was eating dinner, but definitely he has been doing a fair bit of driving in that car apparently, and he's pretty decent behind the wheel as well. So
well, that's good.
yeah, exactly what you want. So hopefully everything goes well for him. But we all know that Bathurst is a fantastic racetrack. But I've been told by a friend of mine that's run up there recently and hadn't raced there before. He was very surprised at the way the cambers work.
Yes.
There's a very small window of opportunity for that optimal line. The minute that you're 30 centimetres offline, it throws the corner massively. To the point that you go from being in the right camber to off camber, and then you're into the fence.
Yeah, it just totally unsettles the car. Yeah. You see, a lot of people that go in there, as you say, they haven't driven there before, or haven't done a lot of laps around there. Yeah, they just it just puts the car way off.
I think also too, from anybody that's into circuit racing, if you haven't driven there before, and I haven't, but certainly the just the aura of the place would be enough to off-put you, to put you off, I believe, at least until you've done a practice session or two and learnt your way around. I mean, obviously with the advent of sim racing and that sort of thing, sure, you can do 1 million laps in a sim car, but in a simulator, but it's not the same as driving your $100,000 car around there and you make a mistake and you're taking it home in the not same condition that you took it there.
Well, that's exactly right. And I don't know whether you guys also, on the subject of motorsport, I don't know if you saw in the last couple of days, there was a press release come out on Facebook from IHRA. And it looks like they are actually approving AA junior drag dog.
Yeah, I've read that a few times. I'm not sure if there was a minor typo in the way that it was written, but it looks like they're dropping the low ET for a junior drag star. They're doing a AA, not. I thought I was sweet there, like a bit of forced induction.
So did I, actually.
The way, because that's normally the definition of drag racing. If there is a category and it's, say, super sedan is SS, AA, the repeating of a prefix generally means that it's forced induction, right?
Yep.
So AA JD was, I was thinking, oh sweet, it's they're allowing nitrous or turbo, and they actually have there was a competitor from Brisbane probably 5 or 6 years ago ran a turbo on one. I don't know if they gained a lot of performance out of it, but cool nonetheless. But no, they've dropped the ET cutoff for this new category is now 760, I believe it was, off the top of my head. So we're seeing a lot of cars now running 790s and 780s in qualifying. And as the press release said, with the advent of billet engines that are going in the A juniors, they're well within their capabilities to run an 8.0, so it made sense to offer an extra step into being able to run a little bit quicker.
Okay.
So and I know obviously a few of the races in junior, and I mean those the full billet blocks and bits and pieces. I need to do a little bit of research to see what sort of horsepower they're actually producing, but they're not cheap. And then to spend all that money and then throttle stop them to stay to an 8 flat, but do like 82, 83, 84 mile an hour. I think there was a speed limit too, wasn't there, Stu? 89 mile an hour or something, I think it was.
I think it was 89, Steve, yeah, from what I read.
So they've given the ability to use the horsepower that's being made now, which is great.
Yes.
But have they also upped the safety aspects of the cars to compensate for that?
I don't know. I think there was no mention of requirement of a additional safety, but I think the cars are there's no rubbish cars in that category anymore. Not that there ever was any, but I guess I could say that the how do I put it? Because there are still people that build their own, but most of them are coming out of the US now, as either a brand new car or a good second-hand one.
Yeah, okay.
So, like my car was built at home by the people that we bought it off. they built the whole car themselves. Not that there's anything wrong with that, and that's one beauty of drag racing is that you can build a car as long as it meets the safety requirements. It doesn't matter whether it's built by, the best chassis builder in the world or you've built it at home in your garage. You can still have that creativity, I guess you could say, rather than just saying, I want one of them and here's X dollars for it. I think in reality, the safety of those cars is pretty good. I haven't seen any sort of major issues. I know that the drivers in junior dragster all have to wear that like a hands device or the hybrids now, and all of them running methanol pretty much, so they've all got to wear a multi-layer suit and head and neck gloves, balaclava, all of that sort of stuff. So they're pretty well protected, in comparison to other motorsports where they don't, a head and neck device is optional. A friend I watched with karting the other day, and I said, "Oh, do you wear a head and neck support?" And he said, "Oh, I used to, but I don't anymore because I can't see." So trying to look what's going around you, and yes, okay, in drag racing, you might have to look to your left or right to see if you're beside your competitor at the finish line. If it's dial your own, that's probably the only time where the side vision is important. But obviously in circuit racing and stuff, the ability to be able to look around is a little bit more prevalent. And I know with the hybrid one that I've got in my car, I can only just see over my shoulder, and then I'm looking at my peripheral in the side of the helmet. Yeah. So when you're in a sedan, or the junior dragsters all have a fairly high body panel too, so you might not even be able to see over the top of that. With a lot of them put the little window in there, but I'd imagine that those cars are pretty well constructed. Okay. 80, 90 mile an hour, we're talking 150 k's an hour, so we're starting to get pretty serious speeds out of them. Yeah. And I think those sorts of cars in the US they've got other categories that they run, like motorcycle motors in and all that sort of thing. New Zealand's had that for quite some time. The older kids can run a gearbox. Yep. I don't know if the ET cutoffs are still there or not, but I think it makes the step into something else, I think, a little bit easier. If the more you can gain in a car that you're comfortable in before you take the step into something else, I think that's certainly an advantageous thing. Yeah. And to spend all that money on a motor to mile an hour, because that's what they were doing, it makes sense to drop the ET down a little bit.
Or a Hayabusa motor.
Well, yeah. We'll speak to Leonard and go 600 horsepower turbo. Yeah, and sequential box and blaze the tyres all the way from the start line. Well, Blaze Hansen did that in his car that he built. He ran junior dragster for a little while, and he built when he was older. He aged out of junior, then jumped in a turbo Hayabusa car. But he built it looked like a JD, it was just a little bit bigger. But he ran in modified. I can't remember what sort of ETs it ran. I actually was wondering the other day in my random thought process, wonder whatever happened to that car. But
from what I remember, Bernie Zabit, who used to race here, I do believe Bernie was actually in the process, or I don't know whether she did or not. She was going to buy a dragster, a slightly larger junior dragster, and have a motorcycle motor in the back of it. I don't know whether her family or her they ended up getting one, but
no.
But one thing I'd like to see here in Australia, and I mentioned this actually on that post, and I've seen it around the world where obviously we've got the junior dragsters, but then you see them come out with the junior funny car body as well. I'd love to see junior funny cars and junior alters join the junior dragsters. I think that would be seriously cool, because it is such a great class. I mean, look, they're not the fastest cars in terms of drag racing, but I can tell you right here and now, if there's anybody sitting up in the crowd, we'll get one of those A junior dragsters to sit on the start line, and we'll get one of our standard VF Commodores out on the racetrack, V8, and we'll send them to the half track, and I can guarantee you that junior dragster will smash the Commodore over the half track. And these kids that get out there, and one thing that Steve and I touch on a lot when we're commentating together at the national events or state events, just how good these kids are. I mean, to leave the line off a foot brake and get the reaction times that they do.
Exactly like all of our competitors sitting in the staging lanes. There's no electronic aids. There's no two steps. There's no nothing. It's all done brain, eye, and foot.
Yep.
You know, so and to do it consistently is very difficult. But certainly, and that's why we see so many racers move out of that category into the more senior ranks and do so well. You know, you've only got to look at national champions in that. You know, out of junior, you've got Kelly Betts and Ben Bray two that jump to mind. I know that there's probably plenty of others that have happened. But yeah, Kelly in Top Fuel and Ben Bray obviously in Dorsamer.
Yep.
They're both Australian champions in their categories, and you look into the US. You know, there's races over there that were junior races even before I was, and you know, a few of them have been running professionally in the NHRA. Another one that's done that here is Shane Tucker.
Yep.
Has run over in the US for a number of years now, on and off when money and time is available. He chucks himself in a race car, does a deal with somebody, and gets some sponsorship together and throws together a team. And it's awesome that passion is able to be ignited at such a young age. But of course, not everybody gets into racing. There's a few of us that have got into commentary out of it. Seems to almost be a fairly easy step, I guess. We know the workings of racing and how everything works, especially with sportsman categories. And yeah, I think that there is a pretty good genuine interest, but you know, the whole idea of the category is to feed into other categories and continue to build the next generation.
Yeah.
So you know, the latest category is junior drag bike, of course, and I would have thought that in Sydney we'd have a stronger contingency of bike races by now, just because of the entry costs, I guess, in terms of actually getting a bike and running it, compared to a dragster. The junior drag bike's actually a very reasonable point of entry, because they're nearly all stock.
Yeah.
So you can buy one of several different makes, put some, don't even have to put stickers on it. One of the kids at the Winter Nationals this year was riding his mum's daily transport, right? So he got to the semis, I think, or might have even been the finals, right?
Wow.
So
yeah.
he's on his mum's daily. So of course Queensland, the Monday's not a public holiday. So
yes,
Sunday night all the stickers come off and mum goes back to riding it to work. Just goes to show, like you can do that. You know, the downside to a junior dragster, you can't. It's a purpose-built thing. It's got one objective, and that's it. Where at least the junior drag bike, you can still have a road registered vehicle. But I think drag racing as a whole seems to have turned a corner recently with the advent of the NDRC and all the work that they're putting in. Good coverage, plenty of racing. Well, there's heaps of national events in I suppose different conferences in the way the points are structured.
Yep.
There's alignments with good TV coverage as well, which is awesome for people that are chasing sponsors and doing well, to get that coverage and to have that opportunity to get themselves out there in front of more and more people. And we see many of our races from Sydney do very, very well when they go interstate to race at the national events, and take many championship points and often a trophy or two home through their efforts. Unfortunately, I'm just looking into the night sky through the lights, Mark, as we're having this conversation, and the meeting director has just come in and has said that the decision has been made to cancel the rest of racing for tonight. Unfortunately, as you can tell, the weather has unfortunately beaten us, and I think to dry the track at this point at night would potentially take too long. It's already 20 past 7.
Yeah.
You know, so unfortunately we've made the decision to conclude racing for tonight, unfortunately. Our next event will be a test and tune on this Saturday, starting from about 9 o'clock, I think it was. Yeah, so keep your eyes on the track's website. Thank you very much to everybody that's come out to Sydney Dragway this evening, and we look forward to your company next Wednesday. Here at Sydney Dragway, we can see the rain falling in our cameras as well. So unfortunately, the weather gods have beaten us here tonight. Thank you very much for coming out to Sydney Dragway. Be safe on the roads travelling home, and we'll see you very, very soon. Good night.